among many of the great things that this dynamism of the 21st century has brought us, there's definitely been some downsides, and one of them has been chronic stress and ultimately bad sleep. People have trouble going to sleep, staying asleep, falling asleep, and it's a problem. This is a big problem. The reason is because science shows sleep is probably the thing that you need to do for your health the most. If you don't optimize your sleep, you're not doing yourself a service. You basically cannot out diet, you cannot out exercise a bad sleep. You just can't. So that is why we need to do everything that we can in order to improve our sleep. But firstly, we need to understand what sleep is, how does it work, why do we feel sleep throughout the day, and things like that. So welcome to another video, guys. Mate here from Be Optimal, and let's continue on. Why do we actually feel more tired as the day goes on? Well, first of all, we need to mention here an organic compound that goes by the name of adenosine. And basically, the more adenosine we start accumulating in our bodies, it signals to our brain that we're tired. And this is actually how caffeine works, because caffeine doesn't actually bring you new energy, doesn't create new energy. It simply binds to the receptors that adenosine binds to and simply blocks the pathways to your brain that tells you you're tired. So basically, you're just not telling your body you're tired instead of creating new energy. But we'll talk about caffeine throughout the video. So as I said, you accumulate adenosine throughout the day. Every waking moment you accumulate it, you generate it, the body generates it, and then when it gets to a certain critical threshold, you feel just so tired, you go to bed. And when you go to sleep, the more quality your sleep is, the more adenosine you actually filter out. So basically, if your sleep is bad, if you wake up throughout the day, throughout the night a lot, your adenosine is not going to get filtered out, and that's why you feel tired in the morning. You may be wondering though, but Mate, why do I feel tired at certain points in the day and then I get a second wind and I don't feel tired anymore? Well, you're right, because there is another mechanism that regulates our sleep, which is called the circadian rhythm. And the circadian rhythm is really a fascinating thing because it is regulated by a part of our brain, the hypothalamus, but not only that, within the hypothalamus, there is even a very small, a tiny part of our brain which goes by the name of suprachiasmatic nucleus. And it's a daunting name, I know, but the fascinating thing is that it has light receptors. And this is very intuitive. When we wake up during the day, there is a lot of light. We have the sun, right? And as the day approaches its end, we start to get less and less light, which kind of signals our bodies that it's time to go to bed. So obviously you want more light during the day and less light, and the type of light matters at the end of the day. But furthermore, let's continue on talking about what sleep is, what actually occurs during sleep. So the important thing is there are two different stages of sleep. We have REM and we have non-REM sleep. REM sleep stands for rapid eye movement, and just as the name suggests, it is the deepest part of our sleep where our eyes start moving rapidly. It is correlated with an increased brain activity as well as a loss of reflexes. So what does this actually tell us? This tells us that this is the part of our sleep where we're dreaming the most. We are going through various different scenarios, perhaps some daunting scenarios that might happen in the future, or replaying certain things that have happened to us that have been particularly dramatic, traumatic, or simply painful. Thus, when we have more quality sleep, more of this REM sleep, we're basically becoming more adaptive to emotional stress. We are able to control our emotions much better than if we wouldn't sleep. And that is why after a great night of sleep, you feel so rejuvenated, you feel like you can conquer the world. But you've probably forgot how that feels like, and trust me, most of us have. So furthermore, when we learn something, our memories go to the short-term supply. rather than the long-term supply. So when we learn something, it goes to the short term, and then when we REM sleep, we are putting the memories that we've gotten from our short term and solidifying and turning them into long-term memories. This doesn't simply solidify our memories, but it also makes a lot more space for new memories that can be put in this supply of short-term memories. And this doesn't only go for some theoretical memories, something that we've learned or read. This also goes for motor memories, such as, for example, if you're a basketball player, you have a certain move that you want to learn. If you have more REM sleep, that means you're going to learn that move much more faster, and it's going to be much better at the end of the day. So we've already established that REM sleep is very important, but what makes it difficult for us to get actually? Well, that is because there are different phases of our sleep, and this is different from the stages of REM and non-REM, but they are kind of the same at the same time, because phases, as we sleep, we go through these phases, and every phase has both non-REM and REM sleep. And there are 4 different types of non-REM sleep: 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we go to the deepest stage of REM sleep. And this is problematic because we can't skip phases. One phase lasts about 90 minutes, and we go through all of the stages in these 90 minutes. But REM sleep, since it's the deepest one, if our sleep gets disturbed, we wake up, we can't, and then we, kind of go to bed and fall asleep again. We cannot skip stages. If we wake up, we're starting all over again from the first non-REM sleep. And this is problematic because this makes us essentially get a lot less REM sleep than our body, and more precisely our brain, would ideally like. Now we actually come to the part on how do we actually fix our sleep. And look, science has a couple of different things, but I can tell you also from my experience what has worked for me the most, because trust me, I was one of those people that went to bed at 4, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m. sometimes. My sleep was atrocious. It was awful. I'm telling you, there aren't a lot of people that had worse sleep than me. So I can tell you what has worked for me the most. Firstly, we cannot talk about improving sleep without talking about coffee. And coffee is a problem. There has been so many studies right now showing that people that drink more coffee are more tired throughout the day, and their sleep is just basically a lot worse. Why this happens, we don't actually know all the different mechanisms, but I can tell you that the half-life of coffee, which is basically the amount of time that your body needs in order to filter out just half of the coffee or the caffeine in your system, is 5 to 7 hours. What does this mean? This means that your first coffee, and only coffee throughout the day, should be at least 10 to 12 hours before you go to sleep. My opinion and experience is that and science as well, 1 hour, hour and a half after you wake up is the ideal time to have your coffee, and that's it. No more, no less. But you may be wondering, but Mate, I can drink coffee 2 hours before I go to bed and I feel great. I can sleep like a baby, right? Wrong. Because your quality of sleep is going to dramatically worsen. Doesn't matter if you can fall asleep, if you can stay asleep, sooner or later it's going to make problems. And even if you don't wake up, your quality of sleep is just the ability of your body to filter out the adenosine that I talked about in the beginning of the video is going to be dramatically worse. So no, drinking coffee before bed is not a good idea. And not only that, like if you've noticed, at that particular time, it doesn't even make a difference. It doesn't even give you energy. You're just drinking it because you like the taste. It's not actually giving you more energy most of the time. Another thing is alcohol, guys. Alcohol has been shown to be one of the most, if not the most powerful suppressants of REM sleep. Does this mean you should never drink it? No, of course, it's a social lubricant. It's a nice thing to have once in a while, but don't use alcohol such as wine or beer every day before going to bed. It's not a good idea. And finally, we come to my own personal experience. What has helped me the most, absolutely the most, to simply get my schedule right and improve my sleep? That is exercising in the morning as soon as I get up and bathing in the sun, or you can supplement vitamin D as well in the morning. These are very important because exercise has been shown that if done in the morning has the greatest beneficial effect on your sleep. If you do it at night, especially 2 to 3 hours, if you don't have at least 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed, it's a problem. It is going to disrupt your sleep because it will change your circadian rhythm in a way that it shouldn't, because your body shouldn't be that alert and energetic in the later stages of the day. And I would also suggest trying to go to bed and waking up at the same time almost every day. This is very hard. As I said, the dynamism of the 21st century has brought upon us chronic stress and, a lot of things, deadlines and things like that, which makes it particularly difficult to stick to one sleeping schedule. But I think that if you try to at least stay within certain parameters, an hour or two maximum, you're gonna be in a very good position. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I give you a brief introduction, and some knowledge on what sleep is, how it actually works, and what you can actually do to improve your sleep. If you enjoyed it, put a like, put a subscribe, and hit that bell button. It means a hell of a lot to me. This is a fairly new channel, and I'm trying my best to bring you the highest quality information and videos that I can. But I'm learning, I'm continuously improving, and I hope you stay with me in this journey, guys. Peace out and see you in the next one. Cheers.